What did you steal?
Secrets.
Disclosure Day is Steven Spielberg's best film in 20 years.
Are they people?
No.
Are they human?
My God.
Spielberg does this better than anybody in history.
I can see them. They're coming.
Disclosure Day. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
Well, hello there, and welcome to a new episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Oh, if this is your first time joining us for some mayhem, welcome, darlings. Come right on in. Let me tell you what you've gotten yourself into today. You see, I bring you the stories of some of the most heinous, diabolical, and downright audacious crimes committed by some melanated baddies that you may or may not have heard of. But I can promise you this, honey, if you have heard the stories, heard the sound bites, I know you have not heard the story the way I'm gonna tell it, baby. So sit yourself down, because you see, I am on a mission, a one-woman band out here trying to dispel this pervasive myth that there are certain types of crimes that Black people don't commit. Baby. Ooh, honey, lies, I tell you, from morning, noon, and night, lies. Because we do, and we probably always will, the way things are going, always commit the prolific serial type of shenanigans that I'm going to bring you every Wednesday. So go ahead, gather yourself, and I promise you, you are in for a treat today. And if you don't believe me, just ask the fine members of the New Orleans Nation. Hey, babies. Ooh, I'm so glad y'all are here today. Oh, it has been a week, but you know, this is my therapy when we get together and we can kiki, because today, I know I say it a lot, but baby, today, the story I got for you, flabbergasted. I can't wait to get into it, but you know, we have to do things the proper way. Let's see what we got coming up. Church announcements. We got Essence coming up. This is really the countdown now, y'all. Like a couple of weeks. I already bought my plane ticket, so we in the mix, and your girl is going to be featured on another podcast. Yes, it's called The Griots Nest, and I want you guys to stay tuned for more information on that. I'm so excited. This is a creative collective. They are out of, I think, North Carolina and New Orleans. I know that's where we're going to do the interview. Oh, in Durham. But it sounds so interesting. And I'm, you know, anytime I get to be asked to be a part of something, you know, your girl be smiling from ear to ear. And I just cannot wait. In addition to just being able to kick it with the New Orleans Nation, who will be in the place to be, we still got to figure out what I'm going to do for y'all for that week. I'm thinking it'll probably be some live stuff. Because New Orleans is one of my most favorite places in the world. And I am so looking forward to going through the cemeteries there. So maybe I can find some interesting stories on site, because, you know, New Orleans is full of stories and full of such good food. Your girl cannot wait. Let's see. Don't forget about the website, melaninmayhempodcast.com, for all your merchandise needs. You can also get a copy of the e-guide. What else do we have? The Melanin Mayhem original story series. Ooh, y'all are blowing that up. I know some people have been saying that they have not been able to get the link. I was told that you guys should refresh your streaming service, like close it out and then go back into it, and that should make it come up. If you also go to the page, you should see two separate logos, I guess, for Melanin Mayhem Podcast. One will have like a padlock on it, and that's the subscription one. And then, of course, if all else fails, you don't have to do nothing but hit your girl up, baby. Whether you do a shout out online or you send me an email, baby, I be on it. I'm gonna send you a link and you can get right on in, because I don't want y'all to miss a minute of the things that are going on. Speaking of which, when I tell y'all, I have been trying to get a episode of the Melanin Mix out for like 3 weeks, and every time I do it, something happens. I feel like I'm cursed at this point. I am determined to conquer this video thing. Like, I don't know what I need to do, but I'm going to figure it out, because the Virgo in me is making this entirely too hard. But I got you. I'm on it. I have so many videos that I've recorded that I can't use for one reason or another, mostly due to audio issues. Like, if I could just get this audio thing down so that it doesn't sound like, I don't know, it's just like I'm in a little voice in a big room. I don't know how else to describe it, but I'm gonna figure it out, because I really want to do this video stuff a whole lot more for you guys. So just hold on, it's coming. What else do we have? I'm thinking about some type of virtual event. I think we need to get together. We had a blast when we got together for Galentine's Day. It'll be after New Orleans for sure, but I'm gonna figure something out. Other than that, I don't have anything else for church announcements, so let's go on ahead and get into this week's story, because oh my goodness, y'all, when I came across this particular story, all I could say was, what? Huh? Don't fit the profile. Not what you think of when you think of these type of serial shenanigans, but damn if it ain't happen. And I was like, oh my God, I got to tell the New Orleans Nation. We have got to talk about this. And we have dipped over into France quite a few times on this podcast. And today we are going back to France to talk about a serial killer who was after the elderbuns. Oh, yes, honey. I got another one, but it ain't like the ones that we are used to. I know I am teasing this one up, down, and sideways, but baby, when I tell you, it's a whole lot. So without further ado, let's go on ahead and get to the reason for the streaming. Let's go on ahead and drag this sorry motherfucker to the front of the congregation for a proper read. And this week is not just one, it is two people that we drag into the front of the congregation. This week's Melanin Mayhem makers are Thierry, Paulin, and Jean-Thierry Mathurin, aka the Monster of Montmartre.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
All right, Newer Nation, let's get into it now. Before I even get started, yes, this took place in France, which means there are a whole lot of French names that I am going to butcher. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm gonna apologize before we get started. Blame it on my accent, not my heart. All right, so that being said, Thierry Paulin was born November 28th, 1963 in Martinique. Okay, so we just gonna come on out with it with the fuckery from jump on this case because Thierry's mama is a teenaged French vanilla frappine, and you know what I'm saying? And his daddy is a black dude. And in 1963, if you didn't know, them Frenchies was just as flagrant with the racism as their caucasical cousins across the water. And so much so that I don't know Thierry's parents' names, but I know their race. And you know, anywho, this ain't no new shit for us, but Lil High Yellow Thierry, he was dealt a bad hand from the start, right? Because his daddy died not too long after his mama pushed his ass out. And so here she got this little mocha latte baby, and her mama and them was not pleased with none of that shit. So keeping this child was not in the cards, and somehow Thierry ends up with his grandmother on his daddy's side. This is his daddy's mother, right? And reading between the lines of how he was raised, I think he grew up a little feral while he was with his grandmama, and for some reason I feel like she is I don't know. I keep thinking Jamaican, but I don't have no basis of fact for any of this. This is just me speculating, but she had a restaurant, right? And you know, restaurant business is hard, and she didn't have time to be raising no babies full time. I'm assuming she did the best that she could, but she ran a restaurant full time, and so Thierry had a lot of time on his hands, but she did what she did, and she kept him with her for like the first 10 years of his life, and then he started smelling himself a little bit, and so it was time for him to go to his parents. And so first he went to go live with his mama. Well, by now, mama done got her a husband and some little frappuccino babies, and yeah, Thierry was light, but he wasn't white. So that shit eventually went down in flames. He tried to assimilate, shall we say, but he was the fly in the milk, and it was just not a good environment for his family, if you will. And so his mama called his daddy and said, look here, Thierry is too aggressive for us. You gonna have to get him now. And daddy was like, all right, cool. I ain't gonna have to pay you no child support if he with me, so bet, send him to me. So here comes when Thierry leaves his mother's house and he goes to France to stay with his daddy. Now, he's a teenager now, and it's like 1976 or so, and times have progressed a little bit, but Thierry's still a fly in the milk, and he don't fit in. He ain't white enough for the white folks, and he ain't black enough for the black folks. So, you know, being in school sucked for him. I ain't gonna even hold you. And so when he turned 17, he was like, the hell with all this shit. He gave school the middle finger, and he decided to join the military. Now, we all know the struggle of being black during those times, 60s, 70s, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I always think about that movie. Y'all remember Men of Honor? This was back before we knew Cuba was a friend of Diddy. You know, creepy, freaky. But anyway, I love that movie. That was the movie where Cuba played the Navy diver. What was his name? Carl Brashear. Yeah. I want my 12 steps, Cookie. You remember that? Oh, honey, I love me some Robert De Niro. None of which is the point, but I brought that up because that movie depicted what it was like for black men in the military. So I can kind of see for myself maybe what Thierry was going through, you know, being a black man in the military. Well, As if that wasn't enough, around this time, young Theory decided or found out that he was sexually attracted to carriers of the third leg. Well, his marshmallow fellas, when they found that out, not only are you black, but you also is a homosexual. Oh, baby, they was like, hell to the no. Pick a struggle. You can be one or the other, but you can't be both. We can't put up with this bullshit. Hell to the no. So they gave Theory hell up in that bitch. Like, so much hell that they showed Theory the door, the military. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you for coming out. But yeah, we don't need you. And that is crazy to me because at the time, this was when it was mandatory for men, when they got to be a certain age, to serve in the military. They called it the conscription. It was only like abolished maybe early 2000s. But they was like, the hell with conscription. You can go and conscript your ass somewhere else, but up in here. So now Theory can't even get in the military. So after he gets kicked out, he's just, bouncing around to and fro, trying to figure out how to make his next move, his best move, right? And it is at this time we get our first glimpse as to what's to come in the future for young Theory. November 14th, 1982. Theory decides that he is going to rob this old lady in the grocery store. Now, if you've never been to France or you don't know what their grocery stores look like, don't think like us, Walmart, Kroger, nothing like that. No, think more like a neighborhood bodega. You just pick up stuff. Ain't no buggies really. You hold it in your hand because you only coming in here to pick up one of this and one of that. Just a little something. Not like our huge superstores where you got a buggy full of shit, 2-3 of them maybe. And so this is a small neighborhood grocery store, and Theory decides that he is going to rob this old lady in broad daylight in the grocery store. He pulls a knife on her, right, threatening to cut her water off. And so, of course, she gives it up because she's an elderbun, right? And so Theory runs off with this lady's money. But here's the thing. The owner of the store, he saw the shit go down. And he know who Theory is because Theory shops in the store. This is a neighborhood store. And so this not so smart criminal runs off thinking that he is doing it, dipping in whatever. The store owner tells the police exactly who did it, and they go pick Theory's little punk ass right on up. Okay? Well, he got out, because he's young, and he didn't have to go to court until the following year in June 1983. And when he goes to court, they give him a slap on the wrist. 2 years on paper, basically probation. No jail time for fucking up somebody's grandmama. But I digress. And so it is at this point that Theory decides that he needs a change of scenery, and he goes back to his mama's house. But that shit is not about to fly because he still is the fly in the milk, and now you a flamboyant fly in the milk, and they ain't trying to hear none of that shit, and they quickly show his ass the door. So again, he is out here pillar to post, getting it how he live, right? And then he gets this job as a waiter at this club. They call it a cabaret. Think like where drag shows and things are held at. And so he gets a waiter at this club. And before long, he steps his game up and he goes from being a waiter to a performer. Wonderful. Okay, Theory, I see you, boy. So he's like 21 and fabulous. And the club is clubbing, and Theory got a little side hustle going on. He sell a little something as something need to be sold. But he is also one of those people they say that bought his friends. He would be the one in the club that would be giving the dope away a lot. You want to smoke a little something, sniff a little something, Theory be right there, the life of the party, living it up. So everybody knew who he was. This is not a wallflower by any means. And again, he is at the club. He's a performer doing his thing. And what makes it better, he finds his boo in the club. Love in the club up in this bitch, Usher style, okay? And so now I want to introduce you to Jean-Thierry Mathurin. I don't know if it's Mathurin. You know, the country in me is like Mathurin, but that's not it. So we're going to go with Mathurin. But for the sake of this, because both of them have the name Theory, this is Jean-Thierry. So we're going to call him JT for the sake of this story so I don't get nobody confused, right? We got Theory and then we got JT. All right. Well, JT, Jean-Thierry Mathurin, he was born December 27th, 1965 in French Guiana. And they say that he had a hard life as well. He didn't know how to read. And so it was made a decision to send him to go live with his sister in France. And I don't know if sister didn't want no burdens. I don't know what the deal was, but sister had a husband and husband apparently didn't care for JT. And so he gave him a hard time. And before you know it, JT is basically homeless, right? And out there on them streets, he starts doing drugs and he gets into it real heavy. They say he had a real drug problem. And we're talking about young, right? When this is happening. And so he finds himself getting a job at the Paradise Latin Cabaret, which just so happens to be the same drag show venue where Theory works. And so this is where they meet and fall in love. Oh, they hook up and then they shack up. Well, I wasn't there. So this again is total speculation on my part, but how I read this relationship, and I know I'm probably looking at this through a heterosexual lens, but I feel like Theory was the dominant or the man in this situation, and JT was more like the passenger prince. You know what I'm saying? And I come to this conclusion because it seems like Theory was more of the provider. I got to go out here and get it for the family type, and JT was like, okay, baby, I got you, baby. Whatever you want to do, baby. You know, I could be dead wrong, but that's how it read to me. And so, remember, I told you JT was on that shit kind of hard. And so, Theory, he dibbled and dabbled, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't strung out. He didn't have to have it. He wasn't a fiend for it like that. You know what I'm saying? He could be around it. He could sell it. He could do it. He was fine. But, you know, his boo liked that booger sugar. So, Theory being the provider that he was, he made sure that JT stayed with a little, you know, powder for his nose. And that in and of itself is not a bad thing. I mean, hey, it's a lot of people who got a lot of vices, right? Being on a illegal substance does not necessarily make you a bad person, right? But it's how Theory and JT in the beginning go about getting the money that they need to live this lavish lifestyle that they're living, because understand they are young, gay, and free, and every night they are in the club, honey, popping bottles and snorting and smoking and just living and loving, dancing till the sun comes up. Well, that shit is expensive, right? You know, it takes money to pop bottles. And this is where the prolificness, this is where the serial shenanigans comes in for this story, y'all. Baby, tell me why these motherfuckers decide that beating up the elderbuns and robbing them for their money is how they gonna get the money that they need to fund their lavish lifestyle. What, Nay? Yes, Noir Nation, you heard me. They going upside the head of the elderbuns to fund their lifestyle. And, you know, at first you might think, well, damn, they just roughing up a couple of little old ladies. Shame on you, but, you know, at least they didn't damn fuck them up. Well, this is Melanin Mayhem, right? And so, you know, we talk about that prolific shit over here, right? And baby, they did not leave it at just roughing up Granny. Oh, no. And this is the crazy thing. They didn't do what they did for sexual reasons. Like, they cut off waters. Make no mistake about it. But unlike most, if not all, of the elderbun cases that we've covered, there was always an element of rape involved with it. Not in this case, because again, we talking about gay men. They don't want that pussy whether it's young or old. I'm just saying. So it boggles my mind what I'm about to tell y'all, because it's a lot. I mean, I got a big old glass of water over here because throat gonna be dry. Like, for real, because it's so many and it's so crazy because all of this is for financial gain. So let me get my voice right, because baby, when I tell you they went to work fucking them elderbuns up of Paris, baby, I'm talking about overtime, clocking in every day. Baby, okay. It just don't make no damn sense what we about to get into. So let's go. Now, this is again a European story. So a lot of the details I had to go digging for, so I can't go into it as deep as I do I sometimes on the American side of things. But I'm gonna do what I do when I do what I do. So the first the first attack happened October 5th, 1984. A 91-year-old woman named Germaine Petot, and I know that's not how you say it. It's probably Patois or something like that, but Germaine Patois. This woman was in her house. These motherfuckers went up in her house, tied her up, gagged her, and beat the brakes off of her until she told them where all of her money was in her house. Now, they worked Granny over. Oh, yes, Miss Germaine, they worked her over. But even though she took a licking, she kept on ticking. Now, I would say she had a praying grandmother. But in this case, 91 years old, Germaine was the praying grandmother in this case. And whatever them prayers worked, because yes, beat down, she did not die. She was fucked up though. She couldn't give the police a description of her attacker. So even though they had fingerprints and they had witness, the witness couldn't give them any information, right? So at first, this is an attack, this is horrible, but they move on. But then that very same night, October 5th, Miss Germaine was not the only one who got mollywopped. Another elderbun, we're talking 83-year-old Anna Barbier Pontus. She ain't lived too far from Miss Germaine. She got jumped on as well, beat the brakes off this 83-year-old woman, and then suffocated her with a pillow. And then they took her for $100. $100. Now, mind you, this is 1984. And so your money went a lot further back then, but still, they just took this lady's life for $100, and not just took her life, beat the brakes off Granny, and then took her life. And they're not done. Like 4 days later, October 9th, 1984, there's a fire. The firemen come, they put the fire out, and lo and behold, if they don't damn find a body. This time, the elderbun is 89-year-old Suzanne Foucault. Now, when they go up in there after putting the fire out at her house, they find her bound at the hand and at the feet with a plastic bag over her head. Now, how the hell you take this 89-year-old woman out like this? That's a horrible way to go. Like, I really have a fear of drowning, but I think suffocation is like cousins of drowning, the whole cannot breathe thing. And so a plastic bag over my head, yeah, that's a horrible way to go. Like, horrible. Ooh. And then to set her house on fire, and all for $280. $282, I think is what that was. $282. Like, you have really took this woman out the game, who has managed to live 89 years on this earth with no smoke, with nobody. And here you come on some bullshit because you want to get high and party. YN in the making. Y'all didn't know nothing about this. This was in the 80s. And again, we're talking about yes, it's a stereotype. When you think of men who commit violent acts, you don't necessarily think of a gay man that is committing a violent act. A young gay man, more likely to want to go get some lashes than to lash a bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it just boggles the mind that this is going down like this, and they're not done. Like, they're just getting started. Now, next up, the following month, November 4th, 1984, the next victim was a woman, 77-year-old Paulin Victor. Paulin also found plastic bag over her head. And the thing is, when they got Paulin, nobody knew about it. They were able to subdue her, kill her, rob her, and leave. And I don't know if she didn't have any family or whatever the case may be, but nobody knew that Paulin was up in that house dead. So then the next day, on November 5th, they found this woman. Her name was Lona Cesario. Now, Miss Lona, she was a tutor, right? And so every day, kids come to her house to be tutored in whatever it was she was tutoring. So this particular day, the children show up and they go in the house, and lo and behold, if Miss Lona ain't over here with a motherfucking plastic bag over her head. Traumatizing children? What the fuck? Like, beat down, because mind you, they're not just bag over the head. Like, in my mind, they're torturing these women to tell them where the money is, right? And so you probably hit her a couple of times. She don't say nothing. I ain't got no money, whatever the case may be. And then you put a bag over her head and cut her air off. And then she tells you, look up under the mattress, look in the cookie jar, whatever the case may be. And then you still kill her. Like, what the fuck? These are little old ladies, like legit little old ladies. And they don't give a fuck. And it's not, again, for sexual gratification. This is simply for cold, hard cash. They found a victim that couldn't fight back, that they could take at will. And they did that shit. Like, make it make sense. Now, after each one of these, the police come, they collect evidence, they got fingerprints galore. But they don't know who's doing this killing. And so they got a good little chunk of money from Ms. Lona. Now, of all of the murders for robbery that they did, she actually brought in the most. Ms. Lona had some treasury bonds, and it was like almost $4,000 in treasury bonds. So again, the whole 1984 of it all, they lived it up off these treasury bonds. But then I thought, you have to cash a treasury bond. How did they cash them? Why couldn't the police trace it back to whoever it was that cashed it, where they cashed it at? I don't know. 1984, I feel like there was some type of surveillance type situation, but whatever. The Paris police were baffled with these crimes. Like, no matter, they didn't clean up behind themselves, so they left a shit ton of fingerprints, but that didn't mean anything because at this point, neither one of these boys is in the system. So moving right on along, 2 days after they took Miss Lona out the game, November 7th, now they on to 84-year-old Alice Benign. Now, Alice in her house, her son is coming over. Son gets there, walks in to find his mother. A big ass supersized can of whoop that ass has been opened on her, and his mother is beat down and no longer with us on this side. That has got to be a horrible thing for anybody. Nobody that finds a dead body is a picnic for them, but I would have to think for a child, no matter how old, young or adult, to go in and find their mother, their elderly mother. This woman was 84 years old, and he finds her dead in her house. Now, Miss Alice, hers was particularly brutal. It wasn't just enough to kill her. I don't know if she didn't have no plastic bags around or whatever, but they tied her up with electrical wire. And then they took Drano, a drain cleaner type of substance, and they made her drink it. Like, 84 years old, there is a special place in hell for a motherfucker who would make an 84-year-old woman drink Drano. Just trifling. Ooh, some young, trifling, nasty motherfuckers. And again, not for sexual pleasure, just because you want some money so you can go get geeked off of. They took $176 from Miss Alice, made her drink Drano for $176, and then left her body in her house for her son to find in that condition. Oh, baby. Again, police get there, all kinds of fingerprints. Miss Alice's jewelry is gone as well, but no leads. Like, who is doing this? We don't have a clue. Now, at this point, the press has gotten wind that there is a serial killer on the loose, and the victims are elderly white women. And so they gave the killer a nickname. They called the killer the Monster of Montmartre. Wait a minute. No, I'm going to mess it up. It's the Monster of Montmartre. And this is in the papers every day. And the press as well as the community are like, police, what y'all doing? What's going on? We need somebody to be doing something. But the police are baffled. They don't have a clue as to who is doing this. They know it's the same person. They just don't know who this person is. And them not knowing is not stopping the murders, because we still got a whole lot more to get through. Because the next day, November 8th, 1984, just a couple of doors down from Miss Alice's house, God damn it if 80-year-old Marie Choi didn't get got too. Baby, tied up, gagged, beat down, crushed this woman's skull in. All for $100 and a motherfucking TV. $100. Motherfucker will kill you for $1. Baby, in 84, it was going down. Paris, under siege. Same little neighborhood. Because, you know, every serial shenanigan has their preferred hunting ground. And now, the little old ladies in this, what do they call it? Arrondissement? Kind of think of like our boroughs. They're just under siege because they don't know when or where they might get got. But all of these ladies are getting got in their homes. You know how I feel about that, New Orleans Nation. To have somebody come up in your house, the sanctity of your home, and violate it in such a way, again, special place in hell for you little nasty motherfuckers. Not done. This is a daily thing. I told you, this was their work. This is what they did for a living, baby. Next day, November 9th, they back at that shit again in the same goddamn neighborhood. This time, 75-year-old Maria Mica Diaz. Hands and feet wrapped up in electrical wire, beat down. This time they stabbed her up a little bit, just jug her 2, 3, 4 times because apparently she wasn't giving it up either. Didn't have no money. These are old women. They're on a fixed income. Once again, they get $100. $100. You have savagely beaten this woman, ransacked her house, stole her shit, and then dipped. Jesus. And where y'all at the club tonight? Chilling. What we doing? Drinking, popping bottles, just trifling. And they're not done, because 3 days later, November 12th, this time, 82-year-old Jean Laurent. Now, thankfully for white folks not putting curtains up to their windows, that's how they found Miss Jean. Is it Jean or Jean? Jean. I'm going to go with Jean. That's how they found her. A man was working on the roof on an apartment building right across from her. And so, he up on the roof, he got a view down, and, his eyes can't help what his eyes see. He perusing or whatever. And he looks through this one window and he can see that the apartment is ransacked. Like it's tore up from the floor up. And so he alerts the police that, hey, y'all might want to go look over here at this apartment because I think it's been broken into. And that's how they find Miss Jean. Baby, a mess. an absolute mess. And just think, who knows if the roofer had not seen what he saw through her window, who knows how long it might have been before someone knew that Miss Jean was up in that mug, gone like a motherfucker. I don't know. But after they get to Miss Jean's house and they're doing their investigation and they're taking the fingerprints, right? They get another call that say, hey, can you come over here and investigate this smell? It's a peculiar smell coming out the later apartment and we don't know what's going on. Can y'all come check it out for us? And so they do. And that's when they find Miss Paul. Remember her, Paulin? That was the lady that Theory killed a week ago. The one that they slipped out and nobody saw. Yeah, she been in the house for a week and now she's starting to smell. And now that's when they find her. Same time they found Miss Jean. Just a mess. I'm in my feelings a little bit about this because again, this is all just senseless, gratuitous killing for the sake of killing. And you ain't even really got to kill because at the same time, these are little old women. I'm not saying that, just rough them up. But I'm just saying, goddamn, you ain't have to kill these women. Like, old ass women. These are elderbuns of the highest order. We talking about 80 and 90 and 75. What? In 84, these little white women was little old looking white women. Like, why is you up in here beating up on Betty White? Pick on somebody your own size. Like, what the fuck? So, okay. Now, at this point, we've got 8 women that have been got, right? And the Cleartines of Paris is not having this shit. They are damn near about to riot in the streets. The police have got to do something. And so they do kind of like a show of force. And so I think they put I think I read it was 250 police officers that they put out on the streets. Because remember, this is a neighborhood or a borough, if you will. So they flood the borough with police because we gonna find the motherfucker that's in here fucking up the elderbuns. And so everywhere you look, there are police undercover, plain clothes and just and everything in between. But nothing happens. I mean, because once again, it's not like murderers walk around wearing a t-shirt saying, hey, I'm the murderer you looking for. There's no scarlet A for aggravated assault on their forehead. And so, yeah, they were out in the streets, but JT and Theory realized that the block was hot. And so they decided, you know what? We're going to go somewhere else. And they dipped off to Toulouse. Now, Toulouse is 400 miles away from Paris. This is where Theory's daddy stay. You remember the story. Theory's mama was a white woman. Theory's daddy was a black man. And the grandmama raised him and all that. Yeah. Well, they going to go stay with Theory's daddy. His black daddy. His 1950s edition black daddy, because I'm thinking that Theory was born in the 60s. His daddy was born late 40s, you know what I'm saying, 50s, you know what I'm saying. That's a certain era of man. And now his son is showing up with a boyfriend at his house in 1984. Baby, daddy wasn't trying to hear none of that shit. They say they was having knockdown, drag out fights up in that bitch because not only was his daddy not approving of him being gay, he also wasn't approving of him shacking up with his male boyfriend. Oh, he wasn't with that shit at all. But young folk gonna do what young folk gonna do, and they're surprisingly resilient. And so even though daddy wasn't trying to hear none of that shit, they were still out living their best lives, honey, going to the club, popping bottles, tune powder, doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? Champagne nights with Coke flights, you know what I'm saying? And daddy was like, fuck that. This nigga got to go. I don't care where you go. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck up out of here. And he puts JT out his house. Now, I guess I will give him the slightest, all right, daddy, because he didn't put his son out. He was just like, your boy can't live here. And I'm saying that's his house, his rules. If he don't want to see it, he don't have to see it. Again, 1984 was a different time and place altogether. But yeah, he should have known that shit wasn't going to happen. So JT, he goes back to Paris. In theory, stays right there in Toulouse with his daddy. Now, JT go and get him a little job as a stripper. And as I was researching it, it was crazy because, Europeans are a whole lot more relaxed in certain ways than Americans are. And wherever JT was stripping at, it was like it was a television show. Like he was part of the cast, and this was something that they showed on TV. So I don't know exactly how much stripping. Maybe it was more like burlesque style. I don't know. But however, I just know that he did go get him a job where he would remove some of his clothes from time to time. JT was like, one monkey don't stop no show, baby. I still got to get my coins. I got a habit to support. And so while JT swinging from a pole somewhere, Theory, he stays in Toulouse and he tries his hand at being an entrepreneur, and he opens up this business where he's like a manager, if you will, for drag artists. And I guess good intentions, 1984 of it. I don't really know how big the market was for drag performers as far as, getting them gigs and things like that. But however, the business didn't go anywhere, and Theory wasn't making no money, and his daddy was still like, I still don't fuck with this gay shit. And so Theory just got to the point where he was like, this is not the business. I miss my boo. He tried it. He stayed in Toulouse for like a year, and then he decided, I'm gonna go back to Paris because I want to get my swerve on my boo thing again, right? And that's exactly what he did. So he goes back to Paris. Now, in Paris, it's been a year since any elderbuns have gotten got. So you know how shit go. They have finally decided that, okay, the threat is over, the danger is gone, and the elderbuns are venturing back outside, and you know what I'm saying? Everybody is okay. Well, they thought it was over. It was not over, because JT, in theory, when they hooked back up, they kept the same lifestyle going. JT wasn't the worker of the relationship anyway, you know what I'm saying? In theory, he don't have a job, and so he go back to doing what he do best, but this time he does it by himself, and he just on a spree takes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elderbuns, damn near back to back. December 20th, 1985, 91-year-old Estelle Dangeau got. After the new year, January 4th, 1986, 77-year-old Andrea Ladame got. January 9th, 1986, 83-year-old Yvonne Caron got. January 12th, 1986, 81-year-old Marjam Gerblum got. And we ain't done. The same day, he take out 83-year-old Francois Vendôme. Now, the thing is he's still robbing these women, beating them up for a couple of $100, if that. 2 days later, January 15th, 77-year-old Yvonne Chablis, she gets got. January 31st, 76-year-old Virginia Labre, she also gets got. Beat down, robbed, and killed after you got their money, because they had to tell you where the money was, right? After you got their money, after you've already tortured and frightened these women to death, you gone on ahead and take them out. Like, goddamn. And again, there is nothing sexual about any of this. This is purely for financial gain. You don't give a fuck about these women's lives. And I got to think that something about his upbringing, maybe the rejection from his mother, I feel like that's what he took out on these women, because not a melanated soul caught no strays in this motherfucker. This is straight up elderbun territory. And once again, the police are back twiddling their thumbs because they don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't have a clue. Like, when I tell y'all they got thousands of fingerprints, I'm talking thousands. So at this point, I'm thinking incompetence because what the fuck? But then again, if Theory's fingerprints are not in the system, even though he caught that little aggravated assault charge. But remember, he didn't go to prison, so I don't know. But for whatever reason, they are not matching his fingerprints up with the thousands of fingerprints that they have from these crime scenes. And then, just as quickly as they started back, they stopped after Virginia's death. And then it's like, well, what happened? For like 5 months, no elderbun got. I'll tell you what happened. Theory got a job. You see, whenever Theory is gainfully employed, paycheck coming in, he don't have no reason to kill because he got the money that he needs to fund his lifestyle. It's when he don't have no job that the problems occur. So he gets this job at this talent agency, basically where he is working with different creatives, artists, singers, things like that, hooking them up with gigs and whatever they do, right? And so he does this. He likes what he's doing, and all of the killing stops. But then, wouldn't you know, the talent agency goes out of business. No more check. And, no more money coming in. That means we going back to knocking over Penelope. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The doors of that talent agency closed in May of 1986. And that following month, June of 1986, the doors of Club Fuck Granny Up was open for business. Baby, tell me why June 14th, 1986, Ludmilla, that's a name right there. Like, I don't know how you put all those syllables together, but Ludmilla, I would be upset. Not the point. Ludmilla Lieberman. Now, she was American, but living in Paris. Baby, got. 16th woman to leave here. I think Ludmilla was like 77, I believe she was, but gone, robbed, beaten, and killed for $100. Like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Now, at this point, because of the stop and start of it all, and the police never having been able to produce a suspect to give them anything, the people's is like, fuck all y'all, because this is some bullshit. Bring in the goddamn whoever is over the FBI somewhere else. Bring somebody else in here to solve these goddamn crimes, because it doesn't make any sense that old white women are not safe in their homes and you have no idea who is doing it. Like, they were French people in particular, when they get mad about some shit, baby, they'll take to the streets. You can't be out here fucking up Genevieve. Oh, no. But you got to understand, to the police's defense, incompetence, sure. But even when coming up with like a suspect profile, who the fuck would think that 2 gay men was out here fucking up the elderbuns? Like, I guess that's a stereotype because anybody is capable of any type of crime, but you just, that's not what you think. It's not. Even if you hear about a crime right here now today, some violent crime of passion or somebody died, you might think a man did it, but your first thought is not that a gay man did it. You know what I'm saying? Well, all good things have to come to an end, and eventually, Theory, his aggressiveness is what does him in. And so later on in 1986, he would have a beef with somebody he was doing some street shit with, right? And he decides that, I don't know if he's been disrespected, but he got to handle the business. And so he take a baseball bat and beat the motherfucking brakes off the dude that he got this street business with, right? And so dude is fucked up, like baseball bat to the head, white meat, all that shit. And so I don't know if this is a French thing, but dude took his street beef to the police and was like, hey, old boy just fucked me up over some dope and I need y'all to go get him. And the police did. They went and picked up Theory for fucking up this man with this baseball bat, right? Not about anything else, but because he beat up another man with a baseball bat. And so after they locked him up, they charged him with aggravated assault. And this time he does get sentenced to 16 months. And kind of like our judicial system, yeah, he got 16 months, but he not going to do 16 months. But the crazy part is he does go to prison, which means they take his fingerprints, right? He does a year, 12 months. And so on his way into prison, they took his fingerprints. And on his way out of prison, they also took his fingerprints. But they let him go. And just in time for a hot boy summer, they let that ass slide out in, I think, June of 1987. But here's the thing, on his way out the door, he found out that he was very much so pre-Magic Johnson HIV positive. You know, at that point in time, pre-Magic Johnson, that's when they didn't give a fuck about a gay man with this virus. So he already know what it is. That time is short, baby. It's a real clock on that motherfucker. And you better do what you need to do because you ain't going to be here much longer. And so Theory decides that he wants to live it up and do everything that he can, live to excess before he got to give it all up for eternity, right? And he still ain't got no job, fresh up out the joint, but you know, he still need a bag. So you know what that mean. And at this point, he don't care how he get the bag because it don't matter if he get caught because he know he ain't gonna be here much longer. So now he out here with all mannerisms of scamming and flim-flamming. He using stolen checkbooks and credit cards and all this shit. Everything that he done stole, he pawning shit, just funding his lifestyle. Like he really out here in these streets right now. And I understand. Again, you got to think about the times back in the 80s, having HIV was literally a death sentence. There was no treatment. Didn't nobody give a fuck. He was a gay man and you deserve what you got. And so it's heinous as fuck what Theory did. I understand the mentality of this is my last hoorah, so I'm finna hoorah this motherfucker up. I just wish that you know you about to be meeting your maker. Perhaps you don't want to kill nobody else's grandmama before you go, you know, try to stop it right here. So maybe you can be like, you know, Lord, I turned my life around. Ain't that what you're supposed to do in these times when you facing your own mortality? You're supposed to be able to say, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to do better. Not Theory's ass. Honey, he went right on back to his old way of getting his money, bashing the bunnies. Baby, November 25th. Now, mind you, November 25th, we talking, that's the Thanksgiving week. This is the holiday week. It's also Theory's birthday week. On the 25th, he did a 2-for-1, if you will. He started the day off fucking up 79-year-old Rachel Cohen. Just fuck this woman up. And then he went on later on that day and beat down and strangled this woman, 87-year-old Rose Finalti. Now, again, I would say Rose had a praying grandmother. But again, at 87 years old, Rose was probably the one that was on the main line with Jesus. And by the grace of God, when it ain't your time, it ain't your time. Even though he fucked her ass up, she lived. She was fucked up now. She was in the hospital, couldn't talk to nobody for a minute, hooked up to some machines because they had to get her back right, you know what I'm saying? But in a rare encounter, she was able to not necessarily walk away. Maybe she was wheeled away, but she's still here on this side of the living, right? You know what I'm saying? And while he might have thought that he killed Miss Rose, it didn't stop him. Now, 2 days later, on the 27th, he kills this woman, 73-year-old Genevieve Germont. Now, his birthday is the 28th. So you done killed 2 women back to back. Boom, fucked up another one. Police still don't know who the fuck doing what. All they doing is just stacking up elderbun bodies. And then, if you want to call it a miracle, you can call it that, because it turned out that Miss Rose They got her back to her fighting weight, and Miss Rose was ready to tell the police what the fuck had happened and who the fuck had happened to her. Now, mind you, Miss Rose did not know her attacker. Not at all, but she saw her attacker, and she was able to give a pretty damn good description of the man who fucked her up. She told police, and I quote, "The man who fucked her up was a mixed race man in his 20s with a haircut like Carl Lewis and an earring in his left ear." Now, you might not think that's a whole lot to go on, but it was enough. Strangely enough, it literally was enough for the French police, who, with all the fingerprints they got, wasn't able to find the perpetrator by using the fingerprints from the crime scenes. They were able to find this motherfucker with that vague ass description. Tell me why. December 1st. Now, mind you, Theory just had his 24th birthday on the 28th. So he living life. He been partying it up, whatever. This particular day, December 1st, few days after his birthday, he walking down the block and a police officer sees him. And the police officer has, I don't know if you want to call it the mental acuity or what, but when he sees Theory, he thinks of the description that's been passed around from Miss Rose. And he yanks Theory up because he do got a haircut like Carl Lewis. He is mixed race. He is in his 20s. And he got an earring in his left ear. Now, I just be damned. I'm just saying, sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm just saying, that was pure fucking luck. Like, legit. Off of that, mixed race, 20s, and an earring and a Caesar. Come on, man. But they got him. And so they bring him down to the station. They take his fingerprints. And that time, when they took the fingerprints, they got a hit and matched them up to the crime scenes, right? So they get him in interrogation, and they presenting the evidence as they know it. And baby, Theory got up in that motherfucking, eventually he sang like the motherfucking rent was due. Tell me why this motherfucker in there snitching, because they thinking that this is a singular perpetrator that has committed these crimes. Theory like, honey, them first 8, me and my boo did them things together. He give up JT. Now, God damn it, you know how I feel about snitching. You ain't supposed to snitch when y'all was in that shit together. They got your ass. They didn't get JT, but you made sure they got JT. So they snatched up JT the very next day on December 2nd. Now, Theory, when he in there talking, they only have them for like 17, 18 murders. Theory give them 21 murders. They wouldn't only charge them for 18. And that all happened on December 4th, 1987. So now they've been charged with murder, and now they're just going to sit in jail while they wait on trial. But you got to remember, I told you that Theory caught that package on his last go round in prison. And at this point, it has progressed from pre-Magic Johnson HIV to full-blown, it's time to go ahead and get ready to go to the other side. And so Theory wouldn't be long for this world, baby. By the time 1988 rolled around, baby, they say that thing was paralyzed. He was just a shell of the young man that he was. And he would go on to glory on April 16th, 1989. He died from tuberculosis and meningitis, which of course were due to complications from having AIDS. And so he didn't get a chance to face his judgment in court. He had to face his judgment with Black Jesus. And baby, Theory, I do believe I'm looking down, but I do believe I'm looking down, because you just cannot kill, as you say, 21 old ladies and think that God finna let you up in heaven. I do not want to see him at the heavenly Starbucks. Come on now. Now you may think, well, what happens now? Well, yeah, Theory gone, but Jean-Thierry Mathurin, oh, your ass is still here and any theory will do. So instead of having 2 trials, now they ain't got to have but one. And so Jean-Thierry Mathurin, our boy JT, he was tried on December 18th, 1991 for 8 murders and 1 attempted murders. Now, he was in, trying to say I was under a spell, I was underage and this, that, and the other. And the court wasn't trying to hear none of that shit. Nigga, y'all was out here wilding out. You took out all these fucking elderbuns, and not only did you take them out, but you fucked them up, and then y'all went to the club. So they gave his ass a life sentence on December 20th, 1991. And you might think, yeah, serve your ass right. But check this out, New Nation. In France, life don't mean life. Oh, no. It's true. He did get a life sentence, but there was basically a parole eligibility attached to it so that after 18 years, he could become eligible for parole. And he did 21 years. I ain't gonna even hold you. But they let his ass out on, I guess, what their version of the halfway house is. Yeah, they let him out January 9th, 2009. And so he stayed at the halfway house for like 3 years, and then he was fully released into the community January 26, 2012. A free motherfucking man. At what, 47? Free. 18 women. Okay, you say you didn't do the second wave of women, but you fucked up 8 women, and they let you out of prison. My people in France, those of you who live in Paris, I hope y'all can hit me up and let me know. Do you know about Theory? Did you know about Jean-Thierry Mathurin being released and he is among you guys now? Like, that is amazing to me. The French definitely are a more forgiving people because, we lock them up and throw away the key. In certain cases, that is warranted. And I think if you can take 8 people out the game and don't give a fuck and go to the club and party it up, I don't give a fuck that you was on drugs. I don't care about none of that. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And this almost rewards bad behavior. You know what I'm saying? Because if it had not been for Theory dropping a dime on JT, he probably wouldn't have done them 21 that he did. If Theory had been a stand-up dude and, no snitching, I guess, I don't know. But that, New Nation, is the story of Theory, Paulin, and Jean-Thierry Mathurin. Ooh, child. A mess. YNs, a subset of the population that we absolutely would not attribute this type of crime to. I mean, what I always say, we always talk about what types of crimes Black people don't commit. But I guess in that same breath, we kind of will do that same thing when it comes to gay men as well. Like, I know for me, I won't dare speak for everyone, but when I think of a man that's out here doing violent crimes, I never think that it's a gay man. Not that gay men can't be violent, but normally if they are violent, it's to either someone that has a relationship with them. Maybe it's a lover, maybe it's a family member or whatever, but usually they're defending themselves. I don't see them as aggressors, but that's why this podcast is here, so we can dispel these myths that are out here, because I just broke 2. We've got a elderbun serial killer of the melanated variety who also happened to be gay. Completely gay, like not play gay, but for real, 100%. I ain't studying nothing with a clit type gay. And baby, not just killed them, like violently killed them. So yeah, stereotypes, yeah, we got to be real careful with those. Real careful. I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about this episode because, again, for me, flabbergasted. it didn't fit the mold. And like I said, as soon as I saw it, I knew that we had to talk about it because what the fuck? You know how to get in contact with me on social media. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast. On X, I am Melanin Mayhem PC. If email is more your ministry, I rock with that too. You can reach me at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Whew, child, it is so late in the evening, New Orleans Nation. Y'all know I really do enjoy recording in the wee hours of the morning. It's just something about it that is so comfortable to me. The house is quiet. I can be down here and just do what I need to do and ain't got to worry about bothering nobody or whatever. But I still say that I got to get some type of regimen going, because when I finally get this video thing together, I can't be doing it at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because, you know, I come in and I get real comfortable when I get home, but I can't be comfortable like that because you got to be camera ready. And, you know, the Virgo in me would have nothing less. So I'm going to get it together, but I do enjoy my late night recording sessions, and I'm definitely gonna miss that when it comes down to doing my videos. All right, before we go, you know, there's one last thing that we have to do, and that is our New Orleans Nation shout out, because where would I be without my boo things in the New Orleans Nation that take their time and send your girl reviews and things. And this week I am going to Apple for this week's New Orleans Nation shout out, and I am going to shout out the bougie coach who left a recommendation of 10 out of 10 on Apple. No words needed. Talk that ish, sis. I have literally caught up on every episode in 2 weeks. I love this for us. And then she got 2 hearts and 100s. Baby, bougie coach, I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time out your day, because baby, bougie people be real busy. Thank you for kicking it with your country girl. Y'all, I sit here. Y'all don't understand. By the time I get through doing this podcast, my cheeks be so damn sore because I'm smiling the entire time. I'm so damn happy because y'all are here with me. Like I said it before, I'll say it again. This was just something that was just a thought that I had, something that I wanted to do. Let me give it a shot. And the fact that so many of y'all are down with the country girl, and so much of this has just been organic. I don't do a lot of social media because, you know, there's not enough hours in the day. So it's not like I'm posting all the time. I got a TikTok. I don't even think I've ever posted anything on it. I have to ask my daughter how I can get over on my TikTok. But I'm saying all of this to say, my podcast has grown organically, word of mouth, somebody telling somebody else, oh, you need to get down with this. You need to get down with this. So when I tell y'all, I am so appreciative, baby, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. Y'all my boo things forever, honey. But it is legit like 5:31 in the morning. Y'all know this episode has to be up by 7:30, which means I got 30, 45 minutes to do what I need to do to it. But again, because y'all told me to be myself, I don't really have to do much editing anymore because y'all don't care if I'm breathing because I'm human. So the breaths are still in there. And at this point, I'm so comfortable talking with y'all. I edit as I go. But there's a few things I put on the back end to polish it up a little bit. So as we close the doors of the church today, y'all know how we do this. Please, as you go forward with the rest of your week, stay safe. Please stay vigilant because, woo, they out there, honey. And as always, remember this. If you stay ready, baby, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation. And your favorite country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.